Welcome back to the show, and thank you so much for staying with us. This is still Breakfast Central right here on News Central. Now, every Friday, we spotlight an emerging business or entrepreneur who, despite the tough terrain of business and economic markets, are also employing creative and innovative means of gaining ground and keeping a competitive edge. So today, Startupreneur takes us into the automobile industry, and our team caught up with the MD of Nord Automobiles, and this is his story.
You're watching News Central. My name is Rakiya. We're here to talk to another entrepreneur who's doing really well and has kept his business thriving. I'm talking about Oluwatobi Ajayi. Now, he's the CEO of Nord Automobiles. Now, when you talk about automobiles, like, he's very influential. You just have to mention his name. Now, in 2018, Forbes named him as one of Africa's most promising and young entrepreneur. We're about to find out the secret of how he's kept his business strong and booming. And you've started this for some time now, so tell me quickly about your career part and how it has been for you.
I started my career at Mercedes-Benz Nigeria. I served there, actually, did my NYSC there. And after NYSC, I was retained and I grew very fast. I became the head of a division within few months or less than a year. And I think that was the beginning of great things, because being saddled with such responsibility of being responsible for a division of a luxury brand in Nigeria, I learned a lot of things. I met a lot of people. My network increased and improved significantly. And you know, when you are around great men and women, they tell you a lot of things, that how important you are and things you can do. And one of them told me, "Oh, you know what? You have great potentials. Why not start your own authorized dealership of Mercedes-Benz or something?" So in 2015 or 2014, I met some people and we agreed to start a dealership of Mercedes-Benz, and that was how we started a company called JetVan. So JetVan was incorporated in 2014 December. 2015 March, we started the company, became the authorized dealer of Mercedes-Benz Sprinter in Nigeria. In fact, we had the exclusive right for Mercedes-Benz Sprinter in Nigeria, which means that anybody that wanted to buy a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter from the authorized dealer from the right way has to come to us. That was really good for us. That was really good for me. We sold a lot of Mercedes-Benz Sprinters in Nigeria. In fact, a lot of people say that we are responsible for making the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter popular in Nigeria, which is still popular. Before, other brands from Asia were the ones ruling the market. But we moved our market share from less than 1% to about 7 to 10% within just 2-3 years. And from there, I decided to start Nord, because I just felt that Europeans, Asians created their own brand. Why can't Africans, why can't Nigerians create their own brand?
You know, when it comes to business, everybody wants to start a business, but most people are scared when it comes to finance. So I want to know, how much did you have before you started your business?
I tell you, I had nothing. So, and I can explain how. Okay, at Mercedes-Benz, all I had was my brain and the zeal to create value. And from there, I met the investors who wanted to start JetVan with me, and we started JetVan. And the fact that I believed, there were times when the investors sometimes were doubting if the business would be profitable or not. So I was there to push, to say, you know what, let's go this, let's do this, let's do this. You know, thinking deep, strategizing, making partnerships, you know, improving networks. So I think that was what they saw, and they said, okay, you know what, we're gonna do business with this guy. And that was how I started JetVan. You know, then after JetVan, as a CEO of JetVan, you know, I made some money, you know. Then I resigned from JetVan so that I can start Nord, that would assemble Nigerian vehicles in Nigeria. So I left JetVan and started Nord with maybe some 10 million or so.
Before you went to Mercedes-Benz, I want to know, what was that one thing that drew you into the automobile industry? Because you said it was a big person that told you that you have the potential. Was it that, or even as a kid, you always wanted to go into vehicles?
Okay, so my dad was in the auto industry. In fact, he owned a dealer of Peugeot in the early 90s, 92, 93, 94. And the name of the company was called Squadron Motors. So, but NYSC brought me to Lagos. I served at Mercedes-Benz Nigeria. And the culture, the working environment at Mercedes-Benz Nigeria was superb. It was a family. I really loved it, and I temporarily forgot about my farming dream, more or less, you know. So I just liked the comfort and everything. And I love the fact that they were able to make me use my brain, you know. It's very engineering, so you have to think, you have to, the laws of physics, the application of the laws of physics, how to make cars this way, why cars have to go this way. So it was very interesting for me. And along the line, I thought about now being an inventor, you know, or being someone that creates value by creating vehicles that Nigerians can use and is also affordable for Nigerians. So I started having that dream, let's say around 2014, 2015.
Now the industry is saturated with a lot of automobile dealers. What makes you and Nerd Automobiles different and unique from the rest?
We are here to solve problems, and I'm not saying it because I just want to say it. We actually mean it, and I mean it as the founder of Nord. We're here to solve the problems of Nigerians and Africans at large. Nigeria has about 200 million people. We have the biggest economy by GDP in Africa, and we move those goods from one point to another in a relatively big country: Lagos, Abuja, Kano, Port Harcourt. And most of the goods and this number of people move by road. Our air transport system is a bit fair, I'll be honest with you, but it's out of the hands of a lot of the population. I believe less than 3% of Nigerians can actually comfortably afford transportation. So it means that majority of the people, majority of the goods and services have to move from one point to another by road. Now, it means that whether Nigerians like it or not, they have to patronize transport companies who have to patronize auto companies. Now, the cost of getting a brand new vehicle in Nigeria is ridiculous. It's expensive. We don't assemble anything here. Now, the government has come with a very brilliant concept, which is bring the vehicles in knockdown form. Have an assembly plant here in Nigeria where you can encourage local production, you can encourage local industry, you know, and in exchange for making Nigerians proud, which is also providing jobs for people, we would give you 10%. Instead of paying 70% for passenger cars and 35% for commercial vehicles, you pay 10% as duty.
But I want to know what makes your business unique.
We are affordable.
Okay.
We are durable, and we have the widest after-sales network in Nigeria.
What do you think the future of entrepreneurship is in Africa?
So I think the future is really bright for anybody who wants to be, but it's not for everybody.
Okay.
You have to know that it's not for everybody. To be an entrepreneur, it's very risky, but of course can be very fulfilling. It's like jumping out of a plane.
Wow.
And skydiving. Yeah, no, it's like skydiving.
Yeah.
And you didn't check, you don't have a spare parachute, and you had no time to check if your original parachute is going to work. You just have to believe that at the time to deploy your parachute will work.
Okay, now let's talk about startup. What advice do you give to young people that have an idea, want to start a business, but are still scared about the finance they have, or scared about, just taking that skyrocket and jumping off the plane, like you say? Yeah. What advice would you give to them?
So number one is your objectives have to be clear. So what are you trying to achieve in being an entrepreneur? You need to ask yourself that question. What do I want to achieve by being an entrepreneur?
Was there any point that you felt like you had failed and you just wanted to quit?
I've not really had a failed business. Like business failing, no. but I've failed in so many things in the business. You know, maybe you want this license, it doesn't come. You want this very important deal, it doesn't come. You want this, it doesn't come. But, you know, so I think people should be long term. But just remember that I'm going to this place. The end goal is to achieve this thing. You may actually just say, you know what, I can sell this business to somebody else in the industry, maybe a competitor, and move on to something else. You've not really failed. Do you get? You've not failed. You have to think about it. And even if you do fail, even if you do lose the war generally, you know, that's the entire business fails, you liquidate. You can always start again.
Well, it's 2020, it's a new year. What are some of the car trends that you think will dominate this year? 2020
is the beginning of a new decade. So I think people are going to want to do things differently because they're going to see themselves as, you know, moving to a different phase of life, new adults, older people, and the rest. But one thing that I know that would continue to trend is the SUV. A lot of luxury brands have even, in the last few years, 2 years and 3 years, came up with luxury SUVs. That's to show you that and some brands that even have SUVs before launched SUVs. So SUVs are going to continue. People are going to want to show their status. They're going to want to show their financial capacity by having SUVs. And I think fast cars are going to continue. Car races towards the end of the year. In fact, Nord is planning to actively participate and sponsor one of those car races. You know, speed, you know, to show people how powerful your engine is. As an entrepreneur, I want to find, where do you see yourself in a few years to come with your business as an entrepreneur? In 5 years' time, based on a lot of things that we have in the pipeline that I'm not even told you here, I'm not going to say, maybe when you come in 6 months' time or so, I'll be able to tell you that, oh, this is what we are. But we're already planning, we've already invested, we're already doing a lot of things. Okay, let me mention one of them. We have, we just acquired about 25 plots of land in Ekpe on the expressway for our assembly plant. It's going to be like an industrial estate, you know. So with all those things in place, I see Nord becoming one of the biggest automobile brands in Africa in 5 years' time. So as you say, I'll come back in 6 months again and see how it's doing. Yeah. So there you have it, talking to Ajayi. I must say I've learned a lot. If you have any business you want to start, I think this is the right time you get up and make it happen. My name is Rakiya, and you're watching News Central.